Good afternoon. Thanks for coming. Recap of Friday's game. MVPs in the game. Offensively, Penny Boone, another great game. Almost 200 yards rushing. Some of those were really hard-earned yards that he got on his own. Others were really well blocked up plays by our offensive line, and I thought those guys, their consistency throughout the course of the season has been really, really good, and they continue to improve on a weekly basis. Defensively, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren stepping in with the absence of Maxon Hook on Friday, I thought was outstanding. He was our point leader. Really good job of getting his hand on the ball a couple times and knocked the pass down, got a fumble out of there, and then the special teams, Connor Wallenczak, I thought really good blocking on the kickoff return unit. Got himself in there on a tackle on the kickoff, and made really a touchdown saving play on the fake punt. So really good freshman player that has been excellent throughout the course of the year. I think he's the first guy I've had in my time as a head coach that was scout team player of the week last week for us, and then won an MVP, one of the 3 MVPs for the game. So really good picture of what that young man is. So lots of good players on defense that did a really good job throughout the course of the game. Some good individual performances on offense, but those were our 3 MVPs and highlighted what I thought was a really good team win and probably the hardest win to get of the year with the circumstances being what they were. So going on the road and day after Thanksgiving, really proud of how our team handled the trip. So turn to focus towards the championship game this weekend and play a very, very good, very disciplined, very well coached Miami team. One of the elite defenses in the entire country. I think they've given up 41 points in the last 4 games combined. They've done a really good job limiting the other team's explosive plays and really shutting down any offensive rhythm that you can create. And they did that to us a little bit in our game in the second half. Offensively, probably starting to figure out who they are a little bit with the quarterback change and relying on a good running game and really good play action passes off the RPOs and that kind of stuff. So, but this one's for all the marbles. This is what we've talked about since back in January, and a trip that we're looking forward to make. And hopefully that Ford Field is packed with midnight blue and gold, and we show great representation of what this city can do and what it looks like for what we consider to be a close to being a Rocket football home game here. So that being said, I'll take your questions.
Do you feel like, it's not just a MAC championship game Saturday, there's some history on the line. Like, is this an ultra-focused group?
Well, I think it's another game. It's the next one for us. It's it's presented as that. It's talked about as that. And, I don't think that from a practice standpoint this becomes any different than any other game. But crazy to think that it's different just from the emotion of it and sending these seniors out with a ring. That's the name of the game all the way back in January. So, and by the way, every team talks about doing the same thing. So. You get to this point in time, you put yourself in position. You got a tremendous win streak right now going. We've had great, play throughout the course of the MAC schedule. We've done a lot of things here that no other team in the history of the school has done, and we want to continue to add to that legacy.
Rematches in college football, they're not super common. Obviously, both teams have game planned already for each other. How, I don't know, benefits, negatives, what do you think of a rematch?
There's ultimately familiarity there, and I don't, there's lots of pluses that you can take from our game. There's some minuses that you after the fact you have to go back and address and fix and take off the tape. I'm sure they would feel the same way. Best team on the East and the best team on the West. That's the way it should be. So, there's some, familiarity. There's some other things. I'm sure there'll be some new wrinkles from both teams and, play the game and see how it falls.
You guys have the best offense in the MAC. You have the best defense. Is it fun doing the strength for strength thing and kind of game planning against that and trying to find weaknesses?
Well, I think that, obviously every week in all 3 phases of the game, there's challenges and issues that get presented, and you have to do a great job of trying to strategize against those to guard against the mistakes or the things that could prohibit your success and prevent you from winning the game. So, I always think there's fun in the planning process. It's always that way, and the minute you lose that as a coach, you're probably doing the wrong thing.
Max and Terrence, a couple other guys. What are you guys looking like health-wise going into this game?
Yeah, I think those guys are kind of held back there a little bit for, their benefit and to see, if we could get more practice out of them this week to see where they're at. So, I think I'll know more tomorrow after practice, but I thought hopefully things are trending in the right direction for both of those guys.
You mentioned this. You guys had a good crowd at the MAC title game last year. What would be your message to Toledo fans thinking about coming to the game Saturday?
Well, obviously, this type of thing doesn't come around very often. This isn't as easy to do as people think it is. If we can somehow get a win on Saturday. This is the first back-to-back team since 1971. I mean, you're part of a historic run here, and a team, like I said, that has made a commitment for a year-long commitment to leaving a legacy here on our campus. And I would hope and think that legacy is bigger than just our campus. That impacts our city. We're a national televised audience. I mean, this is a big deal. This is an opportunity to fill up an NFL stadium with midnight blue and gold and be a great representation of what our city is and the pageantry that we have for our own.
And looking at Penny, I mean, when you talk to him, he's so humble, gives all his credit to his line. What do you see out of him, and what do you credit to his success the last couple of years here?
Well, I think that, he's made great strides and great transformation from year one to year two in our program. And you don't make those strides unless you have humility and you have a great core to you and a good understanding of what it's going to take. And, we've talked about this before. I think that sometimes guys come in here and they transfer in, and it's all about, trying to, live up to an image that maybe they've created for themselves at the previous place, or, they wear their stuff from the previous school around and people give them a hard time about it. Or there's other guys that just come in here and they just work and they, go about their business the right way. And, those type of guys, I think they can put their head down and keep the main thing and, just continue to improve. I think it always works out, really, really well for him. And, you're seeing some gaudy numbers being put up by that guy throughout the course of the season because he's had a great approach to it.
Is there a level of freedom knowing that, all you guys got to do is just win? I'm sure to an extent there's some style points involved, but knowing that just getting the win no matter how it comes, is there a level of freedom going into a game like this with that?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever put freedom in the term of preparing to play a football game and, like that from that standpoint of, I think they're all the same. I think they all have their challenges. I think they all have, there's things about each opponent that worries you. I think there's things that you have to do a great job during the course of the week and making sure your guys are as prepared as possible. In the sense that I think you're asking your question of the big picture of it, of like what it means for anything else beyond this, I don't really care about any of that, to be honest with you. I care about now. I care about this team winning this game. And that's been our approach since day one, and I don't think that changes. And me worrying about that or even like, putting any energy in anything like that would be counterproductive to what the success of the team's going to look like. And really, it's a different message than what I'm giving our guys. So I'm not, that part of it I don't even really worry about. It's just about this one, handling this deal and making sure that this is really good. Having what I hope is our best Tuesday practice of the year tomorrow. And that kicks off a great week of preparation for what I believe is a really, really good team.
Yeah, I guess I was just asking, just knowing going into it, just a win. That's all you guys are looking for, I guess, is that,
Yeah, but I think that's what we're always looking for. I mean, we're always looking for that, and we're always looking for consistent improvement. And, I sat here a couple weeks ago and just said, hey, what is next? I mean, it's consistent improvement and trying to get better from week to week to try to make sure that we take off some of the things that we've put on videotape. And I don't think this is any different. I mean, we scratch our head on a couple of plays from last Friday, and we want to take those off the tape. And I'm still in the belief that we have not played our most complete football game yet, and hopefully that's this Saturday.
The depth continues to impress me personally, but I'm sure a lot of people as well. I know Jaden obviously put a big play in that first half.
Yeah.
Just guys, anyone on your team seems to be in positions to make big plays. I'm sure that's going to be, kind of a big could be a big advantage coming into this game.
Well, I mean, I think that's why you recruit really well and you do a good job with development of players. In Jaden's case, I hope you're here too. In Jaden's case, obviously that was a big catch on Friday during the game, and that was a spark that we really needed at the time. Any touchdown is going to provide an emotional lift, but seeing that on the board and seeing those guys how they reacted to everything was awesome. And I think that really sparked us. It got us a good stop right there coming back out of it, able to get a field goal. And then if you turn on the second half of the tape there, like Dre Reagan, 2 sacks. I mentioned E-Man's in there playing safety, getting his hand on the football and really high production points. Lots of guys. Tommy Zyros gets a 2-point conversion catch. Eric Hawley gets a big catch on a explosive play down the middle of the field. So multiple guys continue to, seize their moment and, obviously probably create more opportunities for themselves as they move forward. And that's a sign of a good program and not just a good team.
Smith is obviously a different style quarterback than Gabbert. I don't know. How do you think he changes Miami's offense?
Slightly, but not totally. I mean, I think that their plan is not. It's not going to deviate too far from what they're comfortable in, and our guys here, I mean, you've probably seen this from our team. I mean, DeQuan Finn has the ability to take his own read and run for 60 yards, and other guys don't. They may be able to go for 6 or 12 or 15 and get down, but they're still positive plays. Those are productive plays. So I don't think the offense changes. I think maybe how the game gets called maybe is a little bit different. No, I think they'll do a good job putting a plan around him that would allow him to be successful and from their perspective, give him the opportunity to try to win the game.
Looking at, I mean, I'm sure football game, that doesn't change, but going through this kind of weekend last year, the familiarity with the schedule, the facility, things like that, how does that help, in knowing what to kind of expect?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it's going to be a cool moment for a bunch of guys that have, never been there or seen that. That team worked really, really hard and heard for a lot of years that you couldn't get there and you're never going to win one and you're never going to do that. And to go there and to be a part of it and to see it and get it done, validated a lot of work. So this team had a different challenge. They have to go duplicate that, replicate that, or do it again and do it in a better way. At this point in time of this season, we've already banked 11 wins, and this is how you got to go finish it off if you really want to complete what we said we wanted to do. But yeah, I think the experience there of being there, the environment and the routine of it is, that's an advantage.
I mean, just kind of off the top of your head, I mean, Penny, DeQuan, Desjuan, Womack, Detroit guys. How important is that city, that kind of metro area been to this program?
Huge. I mean, start here and work out, right? Like local footprint. First team all conference player, Dallas Gant here. You go back, you can just start working back. Bryant Koback, Storm Norton, Eric Page, all these guys that are right here. You leave there, you go 45 minutes away, you get to Detroit, go back you got the Quan Finn, you got Penny Boone. You go back last year, Desjuan Johnson, Deontay Johnson, you can continue all the way back to Chester Taylor, from the metro area through the city, out and around a 3.5 hour radius maybe of campus. All the success of Toledo football has been built here, home base. Now, it's been supplemented from the outside of bringing guys in from other places, when we've had to, but man, oh man, that's the fabric of what this place is cut from. The coaching up there and the high school level and the development of it, I think, is very strong. Got a lot of respect for those guys. They have tough jobs, and really high school coaching in general in today's world, there's not a lot of money and fame that goes along with that, and sometimes it's a thankless job. But they continue to invest in the people, and I think people that play team sports in high school are really the future leaders of our world. So. Hats off to those guys and for setting us great players and to continue to develop young people all across the country, and especially in some tough areas like that we recruited.